Welcome back everybody, Todd here. If new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. I'm up here at the Northland. If you're new here, that's our cabin up in northern Michigan, and we're out here in the big forest. Nothing but forest land for miles and miles and miles. So we've got 80 acres of property up here. The cabin that you see behind me, we use that for our hunting camp and turkey camp and stuff like that. So I do most of the cooking up here, and I end up cooking outdoors because in deer season, you know, you don't want to be going out into the woods smelling like bacon or breakfast or whatever. So, you know, I end up cooking outdoors. Well, it might be raining, it might be snowing, who knows what, but the wind's blowing. So I've been talking about this for years and thinking about it, and this year what I really want to do is build an outdoor kitchen, something that can just get me out of the weather when I'm cooking, get everything under one roof. So the idea is to do a shed style building, just a shed style roof, nothing fancy, just again to get me out of the weather. I want it to look nice, be a nice addition to the property. So that's what I'm going to be working on here this summer. I'm not sure if I'll put this all in one video or do a series, but today let's kick it all off. Come on with me and let's go make an outdoor kitchen. So now I'm standing on the north side of the corner of the cabin. You can see that I've put 2 foundation blocks in. And what I'm going to do is put a 4x4 on each corner. So we're going to build kind of a pole building style structure with a shed roof on it. And we're going to try to use some rough sawn lumber from the Amish and get it all stained up to match the cabin, and so that it'll look like it belongs. But that's the game plan. Then we're going to use like patio blocks for the floor in there. That way you can just hose it out. It gets all dirty or greasy. So first order of business is to put in the foundation blocks. I don't want to sink them just in the ground, you know, 4x4s. I'd rather put them on this. That way if we ever do want to move this thing, I can do it. So we've got those all laid out, and then we'll do the rest of the building off those first 2. Dimensions are going to be 8 foot by 8 foot. That should give me plenty of room to get that grill in there, to get a Blackstone in there, and set it up with, you know, some shelves and countertops and whatnot, and then also have a good windbreak so I'm out of the wind, out of the rain. You don't have dew all over your grill, your Blackstone. Hey, welcome back. I'm back here up the Northland, and I'm going to be putting the finishing touches on the outdoor kitchen today. So I've got 6 boards left to go on the corners, and I stopped at the Amish sawmill on the way up here, picked up 8. Even though I only need 6, I picked up 8 1x6s. That way if I make a mistake on something, I don't have to go back there again. So we're going to get the corners finally all done on this thing. And I also brought up some more of the pavers, the patio pavers, my stone, some leveling sand. So hopefully I'll be attacking the floor as well. So hey, come on with me. Let's jump into this today and get this thing finished off. So here's a good look at the roof of the kitchen. You can see it matches the cabin. I have built just a temporary mulch box back here so that when all that roof water comes off, it's not hitting all the sandy ground and bouncing that sand up against the wall there. We have plans to stain the outdoor kitchen to match the cabin next spring. We're going to give it all season here to weather over and just dry out, because that's all fresh wood that came right off the mill. So in the meantime, we'd kind of like to keep that back wall from getting all stained like it's done on some of our other buildings. So that's the game plan there. But that's a look at the roof. Thought I'd do just a quick progress report. We've got all but one board in place. Here's how this one came out. And it, if you ask me, it fits in there nice. And what I won't show you up close is that has to have a little bit of a taper to it. But it really, for ripping that with a circular saw, came out super nice. Same thing here. Everything really looking pretty good. What are the odds here? I shot it and went right into another nail, but I'll just pull that out. That one's looking good. Pretty good looking corner. And last but not least, got the back here and our corner. Bottom going all the way up to the top. So we're down to this one right here. And I'm going to tackle that right now and we'll be done with it. So just taking a look at the front wall, you can see how much that wood has shrunk. You know, it's got a pretty good gap in between each of those, which is actually good for this because we're grilling. You know, we want the smoke to roll out of here. I want a little bit of breathability for the building. What I don't want is the wind to come howling through there, and I don't want the rain. So that's gonna definitely serve its purpose. Okay, our next order of business is the floor. What I've done so far is thrown some sand underneath there, and I've put 2 layers of landscape fabric down. Just laid these out just to get a general idea of level and not level. So we're going to get them a little closer, and then I'll use paver stone leveling sand, that hard packing sand, to go underneath each of the stepping stones there. And then we've got stone, river stone, to go in between. My game plan is to have an 1.5 inch gap all the way around all sides of those, and then fill that in with the stone. Okay, we're well underway on the floor. We set 4 courses in place, and we've gone ahead and put the stone in there. So that's locking them together pretty good. I'm happy with the way it's coming together. It's taken a lot of time to go through and level them out. We're using 2x4s as our spacers, so it's 1.5 inch space in between each of the 12x12 pavers. There's our stone. We're using a river pebble is what it's called. You know, there's what it looks like. Much larger than a pea stone. It seems to be locking those together quite nicely. we've done the best job we can using a 6-foot level, using a 3-foot level to get everything leveled out as good as you can in all directions. But at the end of the day, you know, we can't chase perfection. We'll be here for a month. We got the floor laid in. I mean, it turned out great, honestly. Very solid. Excellent. There's the grill. You got the overhead lights, solar lights. Yeah, it worked out great because it was raining tonight when I did dinner. So first time really pay off on the outdoor kitchen. So here we are. It's raining. It's been raining all night long. Hard rain too. And there you go. The floor in here is bone dry. It's all dry inside the kitchen. I actually cooked breakfast in here this morning. So first real opportunity to use it the way it's intended, to get you out of the weather. Kind of see the rain dripping off the roof, and the grill is dry. And really, for the most part, these boards, I mean, look at the board along the back here, completely bone dry. They're damp. This is damp, but it's not like pooling water or anything. And again, look at the floor. It's dry as dry all the way around, edges and everything. So yeah, I think the design of the building is excellent. Here's what we're looking to do with the stepping stones. We want to bury those at ground level. So instead of being 1.5 inches high, we want to bury those and set them in. That way they're just stepping stones up to. And then I got to figure out what to do here, how to transition that in. We'll work on it. Well, I'm back up here at the Northland. This is Labor Day weekend, and my objective for the weekend is to finish this outdoor kitchen off. So let me kind of bring you up to speed. So as you know, we left off on the floor, and I've been scratching my head to try to figure out what I want to do here. So here's what I've come up with. I'm going to take that 4x4 and I'm going to sink that in the ground right there as a threshold. You can see I have some marks on there. I'm going to drill those out, and I'm going to pound 1/2-inch re-rod in as posts. So I'm going to go ahead and post that 2 foot deep, 3 of them across the front once I get that dug in. And I'm going to level that off with the paver stones. So then you can see I've got the 2 right here. The third one here has to be cut around that post. I bought some smaller ones, kind of half size, but there's just no good way of making those work. So what I've done is I've come over here and measured them out, and that's what I have to try to cut that off. So I've brought my grinder up here, and I have a masonry wheel on there. We'll see what happens. I'm hopeful that, you know, if I take my time, I can go ahead and get that cut out. So that is where I'm going to start, just to see what I can actually get accomplished with cutting these pavers. That's how it turned out. It looks like a winner. Let's go set it in place and see how it worked out. I wanted to cut that wide enough to get a good bit of rock all the way around that thing. So while I could have cut it closer, I want that rock to go in there to really steady that that block, that paver. So all right. So my next order of business then is going to be to start by setting the threshold. I'm running my level back here to the inside. This is all level coming straight out here, and if I run it this way, it's right between the lines there too. So our next step then is going to be for me to pin this together. Here's my re-rod, So what I'm going to want to do is drive one of these 1/2-inch re-rod stakes right through both corners. The problem is these stinking things, they bend off on the end, so I'm going to have to take the grinder, clean that ends up on them so that they're straightened up. So I'll be back after I do that. Okay, here we go. I have installed the threshold. I got my pins in there, my re-rods in there. I've leveled this all out. I'm using these 2x4s as my spacers. I'm level this way, I'm level across this way, I'm level for the block back here out to the threshold. So now this one I just leveled up. I'm going to level this one up, and then that one, then I'll be able to just infill with the stone to lock it all in place. I've got the stone in. That's a finished product now. There's your threshold. You can see how that corner turned out. Those are locked in there nice and tight. Now we just got to do the stepping stones on the way in. Here we are on Saturday morning. You can see that I have gotten 3 of my stepping stones put in. I've still got to sink the other 3. Kind of walk you through what I'm doing here. Obviously those are sunk in there at ground level, and that's what I'm going to do to the others. It's pretty simplistic, really. Here we are. Here's the finished product. You've got all of our stepping stones cut in. They turned out very nice. The threshold, I couldn't ask for more than that. Works out great. I know there's shadows, that's just the way it is. Got the black stone in, got the grill placed, just put a shelving unit that I had out in the shed in here just to store some of my charcoal type stuff and whatnot. So yeah, as time goes on we'll figure out what we want to do inside, but for right now we're functional and it's done. There's nothing more to be done on the building as far as building the structure. I've got my charcoal set up out here. Just a good place to put the grill. It's a Weber, and I can use that for both smoking and charcoal grilling. So yeah, we got the Blackstone, the gas grill, and the charcoal grill. Kind of a final look. Maybe I'll try it again without the shadows a little bit later, but there's a final look at the kitchen. And we started this on July the 3rd, and we wrapped it up this morning. And this is Saturday of the Labor Day weekend 2025. Several trips back and forth. You know, when you're 2 hours and 45 minutes one way to get up here, it can be tough to tackle these bigger projects like this. And I guess the one thing that I do need to do is get a better mount, kind of a hook to mount these lights. If you look right here, I just got some finished nails in there and they're hanging on that. That's why none of the wires have been, you know, cleaned up or whatever, but heck, it's working just fine the way it is. I don't know. I'm sure I'll change them at some point. But that's going to be a wrap. I appreciate you guys tagging along on the project. Do me a favor and give me a big thumbs up. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and then we'll see you back here on the next project.